Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome everyone on the replay. I'm so happy you came to hang out with us even after the live is no longer live. Good afternoon, Jackie. Be refreshed to make sure it's actually working. Hello, Internet. Interesting. Hi, Melanie, Jackie. Can you guys hear me right now? I think I've broken the internet. Oh, goodness gracious. Bear with me. I'm pretty sure you guys could hear me. I just can't see it. My computer's doing a computer. Let me move it before I show my password to the whole internet. I hope everyone is having a good weekend here in, where are we in July? Oh, July 18th. Boy, the time, I did say after we hit like May or June, the time does just fly by. Do, 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 do. So either... You can hear me, Deb? Thank you so much. I'm just checking my phone to see if there was anyone there. I'm just redoing. Sometimes, you know, oh, look, there we are. I think my computer opened the live in a new window, but that window, like, was grayed out like it doesn't exist. It was the strangest thing. So I'm glad everyone can see and hear me. I mean, I know I exist. I'm right here. Now I can see all of you. Let me make sure. I like to increase or zoom in on my screen so I can see things better, because I've always had old lady eyes. I've had problems with my eyes. I think I got my glasses probably when I was 18. Okay, Jackie, thank you so much. I'm always interested in audio. Jewel Bia, I'm not sure if you're new, but welcome, welcome. You may have been one of our lurkers. Melanie, hello, hello. Jackie, good afternoon. Corinna, hello. Barb is here. Michelle is here. Denise is here. And Deb is here. Welcome, welcome from California. So California, Deb, have you been getting all the rain we've been getting over here? We've been getting a lot of rain. And, well, Arizona-wise, surprise Arizona-wise, I should say, 10 minutes of a downpour with thunder and lightning is a lot of rain for this neighborhood, at least. It's been a while, Melanie, yes. Hello, Miss Perfect from North Carolina. No rain, just heat. Oh, yeah. I was laughing because I went outside. I think it was Friday, so yesterday. I went outside because I like to go outside in the morning just to see how the day is going to be. And I'm like, hey, it feels a little humid here. This is unusual. Most of the time when I check the humidity, it's like 39. But because we had 2 days of a good rain, not full days, just Arizona rain. Some areas get flooded, but I noticed down here in the valley and stuff, it doesn't get too much. But the humidity was high. I came in and I checked the humidity. The humidity in Surprise, Arizona, Maricopa County, outside of Phoenix, however you want to look at it, was 79%. So I'm like, gee, let me go and check Florida, Southwest Florida. I could have the numbers confused. Let me backtrack. It was 74% here and 69% in Florida. So however you look at the numbers, the humidity was higher in the desert than it was in the Gulf Coast. I thought that was hilarious. You know, a lot of people were going to be changes. Oh no, Janice, I've had changes in my prescription. I ended up getting a new prescription like every 5 years. It usually changes. When I was younger, they told me that I have weak eye muscles and that over time the muscles are going to deteriorate and get worn out, and that's what's affecting my vision. I struggle going from distance and close up. My eyes take a bit to adjust. So, and as I just get older, you know, your eyes get a little bit tired and worn out anyway. Well, Melanie, I'm so glad you can come back. And for anyone that's new, or if you're watching the replay or you're a lurker, I'm so glad you guys are hanging out with us. We usually ramble until a couple of minutes after 1 because the live doesn't start until 1. But I like to start early in case crazy things happen, like I forget to put the microphone on. I almost said microwave. I'm having one of those days. So if I say something weird, either call me out on it or just roll with it because it's one of those things. Yeah, there's something going on. I've been having trouble just being a viewer here on YouTube. So it is what it is. Heat index today is 111. Wow. I saw that it's not going to get, okay, it's in the 90s, right? But the high isn't until like 4 or 5 o'clock. Now, we know the weather apps and even the local news weather app doesn't always get it right. But they said the high today is only going to be 96 around 4 or 5 o'clock. I don't think that's not, I know that's not too bad for the middle of July here. Mary, you made it on time. Yes. Actually, you're early. You made it on time when the live stream started, but you're early because we haven't started working on the project. Now, chances are we're going to have to discuss it twice, but I'm going to show you guys what we're working on. I was going to wait, but I had an hour before the live stream, and I'm sorry, I'm a little loud today. Just turn me down. I didn't have another project to work on, and in hindsight, I could have brought out my knitting or something, but I didn't have my brain going that way. What I'm working on is, we don't have Giovanna in here yet. Giovanna was one of my guinea pig test monkeys? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. That sounds rude. Anyway, I want to be able to mail a mini mug rug or a large coaster to International Peep. Or, you know, some of you guys say a lot of times, and I know how it is, right? You want to buy something from one of your favorite creators, and it just costs a lot of money. So what I was trying to do is come up with, this is the envelope I mail the fabric postcards in. And I wanted to be able to come up with something that hopefully, I'm pretty sure it can be $10 or less. I do need to factor in the cost of a stamp and the cost of the Etsy fees and the cost of making things and stuff. But if coasters, I believe, are $4.50, and I don't remember what the price of a mug rug is, maybe $8.75 or $10. I'm going to go in between there, and then this can go international. And let's just say it's $10, right? We'll just make up a number. If you have $10 that you're able to spend to purchase something and you want a little piece of artwork that, now granted, you'll hear a story about these. I am finishing these, but I didn't make the main piece. As time goes on, I'll be making more myself, so it'll be a little piece of work for me. It won't be a fabric postcard. It'll be larger and something that you can use as a coaster, mug rug, or hang on the wall. And then this way, there won't be all of the tariffs and the extra fees for international, I hope. Everywhere I've sent it so far, it's been okay. But I can't help if some country decides to go crazy and charge a lot of money for something. But I think to be able to have a small little piece of fun for under $10, I think that'll be really great. Is that what it is right now, Jackie? Yeah, 50% humidity. A lot of times when I check here, it's only 39. I did buy the humidifier, and I've been keeping the room between 45 and 50, and I really... It's been 48 the last couple days. I run it at night before bed, and it's been good. So that's what I'm doing today, is I'm working on this. And I do have, I was working on this yesterday, and then halfway through, I'm like, hey, I should turn on the camera and do a vlog. So there's going to be a random weird vlog. I haven't edited it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be weird rambling. But one of my amazing viewers sent me a bunch of their crumb rectangles. I don't know if, can't remember the story if these were just ones they had made for fun and didn't use, or these were extra that they didn't put in a quilt. But either way, they sent them to me, and they used the Missouri Star paper on the back. And Missouri Star sells a paper to do like string blocks. I don't want to peel this off because I want to make sure more people or anyone that's going to come in, it's that tissue paper you get like on the doctor's table when you sit on it, that their little benches like, or when I buy the fusible fleece, it comes with all the directions on it and the Pellon products and stuff like that. So this is the last one that I have in this section. I think I have some more I saved to make zipper pouches with. The size of the envelope, oh my goodness, I wrote it down. I bought these, excuse me, I'm going to reach in front of you and I hope I don't scare anybody off. Let me see, where's my thing? These envelopes I buy from Amazon, and I can't guarantee that I have them in my Amazon storefront. If they're not there, you can let me know. But they measure 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. Now, you can talk to the post office or search online. There are a lot of rules and regulations. I have a video in my fabric postcard playlist, one of the earlier ones, where I talk about going and talking to the local postmaster. And he gave me all the information about mailing postcards in an envelope versus having to do it in a package and stuff. And that's how I knew that, I can do it in the clear envelope and stuff. But I found that the clear envelope sometimes confuses the international post offices. So when I send it in this envelope, it's safe. This envelope can go for the cost of a stamp. I heard that the price of stamps have gone up and the price of international stamps have gone up, but regular stamps are under $1 and international stamps are under $2. So I think threads, I think that's still not too bad to be able to mail a little coaster, right? So I was playing with the different sizes. And where's my first one? This is going to be a repeat when you watch the vlog, but the vlog won't be until like the middle of August, so you'll forget by then maybe. So this was my original one. Now, I did send one to Giovanna, and I think I did a string one for her. You can see it in the community section under where you guys can post versus where I ramble. There's a section for like members and then one for me. So I made this thinking 2.5-inch squares, and I liked it, but it's kind of small still, right? So I thought, well, there's still room in the envelope. I want to fill the envelope. So then I made them 2.5 inches wide and I think 3 or 3.5 inches tall. Well, that was a mistake because now they don't fit. So these are going to go in my freebie bin so that I can just give them away as a gift whenever I feel like it. And then I thought about these, and I remembered having these. So what I did is I went into what I call my Barney bin, where I open it up and look at what we can see. So if you look for the Barney song, the magical Barney tote bag or something like that, he goes into his magical bag to see what he can see, and he pulls out craft items. He might pull out an umbrella or some paints or toilet paper rolls. Well, I keep all of my random scraps that you guys give me in a plastic tote. So I pulled this out and I thought, oh, well, these will be perfect because they're fun and scrappy and they're not going to be like a whole bunch. So then I thought, oh, look at that. I can really fill the envelope. Now, not all of these are going to be the same size because it's going to be based on the size that the person sent me and how much I have to trim. But I have this one that I quilted diagonally, and I thought this was fun because this has the Air Force on it with the flag and Brave and stuff like that. And I just put blue on the back. This one is going to be too big for the envelope. It won't fit. And that's when I realized that one of the things I do a lot is if I'm making a video or even on my own, I forget that I need to trim things down the size. Even when I'm making quilt blocks, I forget to trim them down. So now I had to go through and make sure every one I did after that is already trimmed versus quilting it and trimmed to size. So this one's too big. So this one can, be tucked in as another freebie. It could go in the shop as a mug rug, but Mug rugs don't always do well in my shop. Even the coasters have a good run, but it's like a seasonal thing. They do really well in non-summer months. I'm not really sure why, but in the summer you need a coaster too for drinks with condensation. So that's what I'm working on today. I want to send these out to my patrons that have been with me since 2019 as a thank you gift. I've been wanting to send them something. Look at this fabric. I love that fabric. I've been wanting to send them something, and I couldn't come up with something that I could easily ship to everyone internationally and not break the bank, you know. Life is expensive nowadays. We have to be careful with what we do, but I still wanted it to be something meaningful that is like a Robin item. So I didn't want to just send them a postcard. I send them postcards all the time. So I came up with this idea, and I thought that was really fun. I'm going to be putting, after I get all my patrons sent out, I'm going to make more to put them in the shop, but I'm thinking about doing them like this. I think this one looks really great. I love the way this one is looking, but I can also do, like when I do the Scrappy Quilt As You Go zipper pouches, I can do themed like this one. I took all of the flowers from the recent zipper pouch that we did with the bee on it. So I just cut all the flowers out and I put that fun fabric on the back. I need to make myself something in that. I really like that fabric. So I did that. So I thought I would do themes or color themes. And I like sometimes mixing purples and pinks and not just all pink. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a mystery, like go ahead and order one and it'll be a mystery at what you receive, but you'll kind of see an idea of what you could receive. When it comes to the time, I'll figure that out. But I want to show you guys how easy it is to take this paper off because it's just a tissue paper. Now they did a stay stitch all the way around the outside. That makes it a little bit harder to get it off there. But I'm just going to trim those bits off anyway. Now I made some with batting and some, look at it, see? And some with fusible fleece. Now the fusible fleece weighs less and it's thinner because here in the US we do have restrictions. It has to be less than 1/4 of an inch thick and it has to weigh less than an ounce to be able to ship it in an envelope. Now when you Google the envelope sizes for a US first class stamp, you can get all the envelope sizes because if you go to the store they have the legal envelope, they have a regular envelope and a gift card envelope. So you can go ahead and, you know, see what the different measurements are. Hi, Gwen. Good evening, good evening. So that's how you can decide the envelope size. And I did ramble a little in the tutorial, but sometimes I wonder when I start talking numbers and math, if it just turns into want. So you guys can always, you know, fast forward past that. So there it is right there. And, you know, these are really fun. Now, they are longer than what I need and what I can use. So I did trim off the side. And if it was any, like this fabric here, I'll go ahead and trim this off and I'll put it in with my low volume. Or since it's 2 pieces of fabric sewn together, I can either separate them or put them in a miscellaneous already sewn together bin. It's not always blocks. Sometimes it's just chunks like that. So that's how easy that is. It doesn't take much at all. While I am an affiliate with Missouri Star, I do not earn any income if you purchase from them. So anywhere you can get not the tissue paper that you put for packages and gifts and stuff. The tissue paper like when you go to the doctors and sit on it like that. It's more of a waxy type tissue paper. It's stronger, but you can actually sew through it. I have seen people use regular tissue paper to sew things, but that's kind of scary in my opinion. It kind of tears and stretches and does all kinds of weird things. But you can get that at Missouri Star, so totally up to you. No skin off my teeth, as they say. All right, so what I did without you guys, I have a whole bunch of blue, I have 3 blue ones with some fun butterflies, and I have 1, two, three, four purple ones, and I kind of picked the back fabric to go along with the theme, and I did separate them by color because while I quilted these in white threads, I really wanted to match the color. So I put pink on here even though there's a lot of green. This one's really fun. So right now I'm sewing the labels on. I'm trying to keep the backing fabric with the one that I chose for it because at the time they weren't all the same size, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't try to put a small backing fabric on a large project. All right, so everyone's caught. Yeah, exam paper, there you go. Thanks, Denise. I always appreciate you guys helping me remember words. All right, so I'm going to stitch my label down on these. I did put it on the back on some of them, but it's just really so much easier for me to put it on the front than to try to guess where it goes on the back, since I make my backing larger than the front when I go to sew them together, because I find it's easier for me to stitch around with 1/4 of an inch when the back is larger. And it's just, in my opinion, it can be weird to just have a label floating around on the back. Now this one I did pretty well with, but they don't always come out straight. It was just a smidge crooked, and the rest are on the front. If I can tuck it in and hide it somewhere on the front, I will, and if I can't, then I'll put it on the back. So there's a mix. So I do change out my foot for the open toe foot. This makes doing applique, etc. really easy, and basically that's what putting the shop labels on. I buy my labels from RsIslandCrafts. I don't get any type of discount or anything from them, but if you tell them that I sent you, maybe they'll start recognizing my name and give me a little discount. And then one that I can pass on to you guys. There's always the hope. And I find with these, I get the ones with the heat and bond on the back. They don't specifically say it, and I think maybe they changed the heat and bond to a different kind because it feels different, or heat and bond itself changed. I'm trying to put my foot pedal in the right spot. Whoops, you're late. 50 lashes with a wet noodle is what Grandma always said. Ooh, the Ren Fair time. I hope it's not raining and the weather isn't too hot there. So by dropping my stitch length down, even with going through the fabric and the fusible fleece, I go to 2.0. When I put it just on a single piece, I do a 1.8 on my Juki. I think like Bernina seems to have different numbers, so maybe that's not the same with everyone, but it kind of gives you an idea. I just find that a really tight stitch looks better on the labels. But of course, you do whatever works for you. RsIslandCrafts has a nice variety of labels, fonts, and all that. I keep thinking at some point I'll probably make my own, because it would be nice to see if I can have different colors. But if you think about it, the people that do this for a living, if they don't offer labels with different background colors, makes me wonder if it's like not a good idea to do it. I have all of my threads next to me where you guys can't see it, to the right of the machine, so that I can change my thread when I quilt. I did have to break down and buy some new bobbins because I keep purchasing new thread and new thread colors, and I like to have a bobbin for every thread. It's perfectly sunny and 70, only a high about 83 by 5 p.m. Oh, that is nice. Avoid the heat. Yeah, that's nice. I like the 80s. The 80s are really nice. Low 80s are very nice. I know it's all relative to where you live and what you're used to, but I know in the warmer places here in Florida, 83 is a really nice day. You buy your labels there too, Jackie? Yeah, I really like them. Jody, did you scroll back? I don't see. I think she's in the Carolinas. That's when you're looking at that back one. Yep. July and August are the hottest months, right? I still follow the news channels for back home on Instagram. And wow, Southwest Florida's been having some crazy weather because they've been getting, a lot of houses have been getting caught on fire by the lightning and the trees and stuff. And their storms have just really been crazy this year. I actually got a wrong number call for someone from delivering a glass top table down in Florida somewhere, and somehow they got the numbers mixed up. I'm going to grab a drink. And they called my house instead, and I was chatting with him, and he was telling me that there's like a super El Nino or Nino or something this year, and that's making the weather extra crazy. I believe it. The weather has been extra crazy lately. Oh yeah, with that, for sure, Jody. They wear in what, like wool and heavy duty linens and thick stuff and everything. They need to have somewhere to kind of cool down. Oh, a wig, that would be brutal. You guys get a drink today? Another question I wanted to remember to ask. I cleaned my sewing machine today before I started. A while back, I mentioned that you should clean your sewing machine anytime I go live. If you sew even a little bit regularly, that way you know at least twice a month your sewing machine is clean. Not a whole heavy duty one. You're supposed to do that like every year, taking in and stuff. But if you sew a lot, you have to clean down here. And if you sew an awful lot, you have to clean it every day. So when's the last time you cleaned your sewing machine? Or when's the last time you changed your needle? I was thinking this morning, I don't know the last time I changed my needle specifically. I don't know if I changed it before and after I did the Santa pouches or just before. Now I'm going to take these two, and most of these, I call them the Crayola colors because I was given a package of charm packs, and it's from Crayola, and it's the Crayola colors, so they're about the same on both sides. I can tell that this is the back compared to this, but they're pretty darn close. And I really don't like to put pins through if I can avoid it. I usually show it in my videos, but when the fusible fleece is there, I'm not a fan of adding, the pins. I always worry with the fusible fleece if the pins might go ahead and like put a hole in it or something and not be able to get it out because the fabric is glued. Now I need to leave a portion open so I can turn it right side out. I think I'll just leave it here on the side. I need to change my foot. Change your needles when they break, right? Exactly, Connie. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, when's the last time I changed my needle? Well, it's not going clump, and the stitches look good, so I'm going to say that it's fine for what I'm doing. I switched over to 1/4 inch. Actually, as I'm thinking about it, I remember how annoying it is when things are rectangle like this to try to pull it all the way from the bottom. So I think, let me see where it is. What my thoughts were is I can see how thin the top row is here. And if it's so close to 1/4 inch that it could become hard to tuck it in when it comes around, but I think it might be all right. I think we might be okay. It's what, six is one half dozen of another is what Grandma always said. Oh, she's in the video a lot today. And, you know, there's always what one little thing that's annoying versus another little thing that's annoying. I was thinking this morning, you know what's really interesting is I haven't had to do the extra oiling on this machine since we've been having those rainy days. So it could simply be a humidity thing that's making the machine squeak a lot. Or it could just be my imagination and I don't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes, you know, we just have to tell ourselves a story and whatever works, works. The most frustrating thing about changing a needle when it breaks is why does a needle always want to break right after I just changed it? Like you can have the same needle in the machine for 6 months and there's no problem. You put a new needle in and then it breaks that same day. It's so annoying. Oops. There's one. I like this fabric a lot too. The person that sent this had a lot of fun fabrics because I like polka dots, but I even love more like the bubble dots. So it's not specifically like this is not specifically a polka dot, but it's a lot of fun still without, you know, screaming polka dot. So I really enjoy that a lot. Look at me clipping the loose threads, even when you're not going to be able to see them. Now I do pin or clip at this stage because if I just let it be on its own as I'm sewing around, I find that it kind of moves a little bit and it makes it so that I don't have enough fabric. So what did we decide the envelope was? 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. But you can get any envelope you want and just make your item to that size. And the other thing is the Missouri Star tissue paper, but you can use anything that's similar to a doctor's exam paper. Thank you so much for reminding me of the word. Something that's thin that you can sew through. Like I've used the really cheap Dollar Tree wrapping paper used to be really thin and see-through, so you could use that. You can use the papers from a magazine, so you don't have to go out and purchase anything. Now, I did get some wrapping paper from Hobby Lobby a few years ago, and that stuff is so thick. Even I would want to save the paper year after year and reuse it. So whatever paper is thin that is easy to tear apart, you're welcome. 10 days of extreme heat. Yikes. Appreciate the help, Jody. Because y'all know once I get working, I don't always look up. It drives me crazy when the threads come out when you pull the clips off. Just a little thing that irritates me. Tracing paper, yeah. In my opinion, it depends on how much you're sewing, what you're sewing, and the amount of money you want to spend. If I'm making string blocks, I just buy the school lined paper when it's on sale. Like it's back to school season now. So I find the school paper, doesn't matter if it's college or wide ruled, but I find that works really great for string blocks. Now, when you're doing things like foundation paper piecing, they do have special fabric for FPP or paper, and you can go ahead and use that too. I do have a video on the different papers you can use for the calculator strips. So if you don't have the calculator strips itself, then you can use different papers. Really, anything that tears easily, I think that's going to work, right? Now, I didn't cut all of these perfect. I just kind of laid the piece that was going to be quilted on top of the fabric, and then I cut around it with the rotary cutter. Semi-straight lines because I wanted any scraps to have straight lines on it still, but it's like it didn't really matter. I just cut it. When a company finds out that quilters like something, because quilters are willing to pay almost anything for almost anything if it says it'll help us with our quilting, especially if you're a newbie and you're trying to learn different things and you're like, well, maybe the right tool will make it easy, or I just want everything like a real quilter does, right? So if you put the quilting label on it, like the friction pens, if you just buy them somewhere, it's not that bad. If you put the quilting pens on it, you know, heat erase quilting marking tools, then it like doubles and triples the price. So sometimes you want to go and look for exactly, Jody, put caps and I catch it really quick. Otherwise, I have to try to get my eyes, again, my eyes don't want to focus right on certain words. So if you put capitals, it catches my name right away. It catches my eye right away. So yeah, so if you, if you go to the Dollar Tree, there's that tan cream colored paper for the little kids to draw on and stuff. I find that that's pretty thin too, and that's good for, I'm just going to say string blocks because that's like a common thing people make. So just keep an eye out when you're at a local store, and just if you can feel the paper, again, you just want something that tears easily. That's why the very, very cheap wrapping paper that you can, if you hold the wrapping paper up and you can kind of see through it, that's really good for doing projects like this. You can also go to the doctor's office and ask them if they have, like if you see your doctor regularly, you've been with them for a while, when they pull the paper off to put it on the bed, a lot of times there's like a little bit of paper left over on the roll. So you can ask them for that, or you can ask them to order you a roll, and you know, you can always pay for it or something. The envelopes are 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. Yep, back to school, you know, get the glue, get the papers, get the scissors. 7 1/4 by 5 1/4, Mary, but you can use any size envelope you want. These are just the ones I bought for my fabric postcards. My fabric postcards are 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, and they fit in this easily. And also, if you make something too small, when you put it in, it's an envelope. You can decide what you want to do, but if it's, this one's not too small, but if you wanted to, you can fold it down and create a new crease up there. So for this one that's so small, I wouldn't do anything with the sides, but like when I do ship things to you guys, if my envelope, I finally bought smaller envelopes, but if my envelope's too big, I just fold it down to the size I need and then do it like this. Just make sure that it's, you know, glued down really well. Sometimes I'll put some tape on it or something, but you just created a new envelope. By checking the measurements, you can also make your own envelopes, even out of like wrapping paper. You just need to have a clean spot here. So if you use like the back of the wrapping paper, if you get that really good wrapping paper like I had from Hobby Lobby, you can make reverse envelopes out of it so the white is on the outside. Yep, get the washable glue sticks and the pens and the small scissors to just keep around everywhere, or to put them in a tote bag for your project or something like that. I buy these on Amazon and I buy them in bulk because they go dull. I'm just cutting thread and very seldom, but sometimes a little bit of fabric, but mostly just thread. And they get dull after a while. And I probably should look into like sharpening them at home or something, but they're so incredibly cheap. But I do not throw them away. I save them for putting them into project bags and stuff. I just don't want to deal with, so sometimes it cuts this way, sometimes you have to flip it over. When it gets like that, I don't want to deal with it at the sewing machine, but I don't mind dealing with it when I'm doing like hand embroidery and stuff. So I keep using them and stuff, but you know. You're welcome. All right, so these are now at this point, and we would turn them right side out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over and start. I'm going to pop my sewing machine open. I'm going to switch over and do a little bit of quilting, so then we can deal with that later. Now, my tension discs are a little bit firm, so I do go with the idea where you clip the thread at the top of the machine and you pull it out in the direction that it comes out naturally. If you pull it the opposite way, the fibers get roughed up inside the machine. Sorry, my arms are a little tacky from the humidity and the heat. So if you pull it the other way, you get extra dust and fibers in your sewing machine. At least that's what the smart people say. I mean, whatever, you do what you want. But I'm just sharing that tidbit. Well, if Jody doesn't answer for you guys, just let me know if I don't catch it right away, and we'll yell her name. Because she can't hear you guys when you're type yelling, but she can hear my voice. Because I'm a little mouthy. The dry cleaner steamed folds in where they don't belong. Tried to gaslight you, that's how it's cut. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if that's how it's cut. If it didn't come to you that way, don't change it up. So I am using, oh, this is such a pretty blue. These are the connecting threads. I do have a affiliate link for that. I don't have any discounts for you, but I do earn a few pennies and nickels if you guys purchase from Connecting Threads. Same thing with Fat Quarter Shop, but this one is their bluebell color, and I think it's such a pretty blue. I'm going to use this. I added a bunch of things to my Amazon storefront, so if you guys are trying to see something, I think I added some of these possibly, but to be honest with you, the color selection and the price is better on their website, and it seems like every month or two their thread goes on sale. I try to catch it, but they don't always send me a list of what that's going on sale. I am so far behind this month. I haven't put out the Fat Quarter list yet. I forgot. You made it, right? You made it, so you know, Jody. Okay, now I am just going to put my needle in the center, and oh my, did I quilted the blue, huh? All right, so I guess we don't need to do that. Let's do the purple. Should have paid more attention to what I was doing. I have an envelope board for making envelopes, yes. I love it. I use it for making my Scrappy note cards and stuff. I haven't put any in the shop because, to be honest with you, when you check out the prices on Etsy and the cost and the time to make them, and you include all the materials and stuff, to buy one or two specialty cards isn't too bad. But if you buy a lot of them, like you want to send them out as like Christmas cards, it does get a little expensive. So I do want to make some more for the shop. I just haven't done it because sometimes I'm too cheap to want to ask you guys to pay what something is worth, right? I'm like, I wouldn't pay that much for a card. But the reality is, I think I had them in my shop for like $4 or $4.50 or something, whatever it was. I try to match the average price on Etsy as long as it goes with, I have a spreadsheet where I've like, the cardstock costs this much, the fabric costs this much, etc., etc. It takes me this long to make. And if it kind of averages out just about right. But if you think about it, when you go to Walmart or your grocery store, I don't even want to guess how much a Hallmark card is nowadays, but they're like $5.99, $8.99, $12.49. I've seen them. So $4 for a handmade one's not bad at all when you look at it that way, right? The problem comes is some people on Etsy will sell a handmade either paper card or a fabric card, and they'll sell it for like $2. But I know Etsy is eating up, 3/4 of that money, let alone what it cost you in supplies. So when some people shop and they see a lot of cards that are, $5 or more, and they see other ones that are only $2, they think that, the more expensive ones are, too expensive. It's kind of a balance. So if anyone ever sells anything, y'all know how the balance is. I did give myself a little bit of a raise this year. I was paying myself minimum wage, but first of all, not many people make minimum wage anymore. And I decided that yes, my expertise and my skill and my time at making, bags and stuff has been long enough that I earned myself a little raise. I still don't pay myself an hourly rate that's equal to what other people say, but I did get a little raise. Now for this one, I'm only doing the quilting up and down, even though there are some that go side by side. With the fusible fleece, it's fine if these aren't fully quilted in this little section here. I do like to do diagonal on a lot of them, but this one is okay. Where's my drink? I think I want to make some also that are, I appreciate it, Jackie, right? Well, some things are really hard. Like if you do a key fob and you charge, I see a lot of people that are making quilted tote bags and things like I make, and they have themselves at $35 an hour. And I am not complaining about that at all. I think they are worth the $35 an hour. But at the same time, you get the, you kind of have to balance things out. And sometimes I'm like, gee, I don't know. Am I even worth that? I mean, I know I'm worth that, but can I collect that? So sometimes it does get a little bit harder. I'm sorry if I'm making the camera bounce. I need to make a little crosshatch for this one. The distance is a little bit too much for my comfort level to be able to eyeball it. I have been eyeballing things a little bit more, but I'm not always happy with how things turn out if I don't do like what I usually do. I'm like, hey, you didn't take the time to do it knowing that that's what's going to look good. Don't mind me. I do weird things while I'm doing sewing because I only have so much space. So, it's hard. It's a balance. So that's why I created the spreadsheet, so I know exactly how much fabric costs per square inch, how much batting costs, how much fusible fleece, what is the exact cost of the zippers. Do I want to do an inch or a half an inch? I think an inch is fine. Half an inch would be just of a decorative thing, but I think an inch is fine. Something like this, you don't really need the quilting to hold anything together. The fusible fleece is fine with that. And I won't cross hatch on these because, again, it's small. It doesn't really need it. I love this ruler that someone sent me. It's a Fiskars 8.5 inch, and I just love it. I just wish it was a Creative Grids because it does slide around a lot. And I have done and tried the different things to stop it from sliding, but I really just prefer the Creative Grids that have the different, the roughness around it to hold everything in place. So let me double check while I'm here to make sure I don't have to do this on anybody else. You're good. Yep, one more. Look at that butterfly fabric. Isn't that pretty? It's the same one here, but there's no butterflies. So I am going through and just making sure that my prices are accurate. Some prices I have lowered in the shop. Oh, it's a crease, not a thread. And some have slowly been going up. If it's already in the shop, I lower the price. I don't generally raise it up unless it's like really far off. If it's just $1 or $2, I'm not going to change it if it's in the shop already. But as new items start to go in the shop, it'll reflect the new current prices. Okay, there is that. Take my weight off. I usually use my phone. My phone is a perfect weight to hold things down, but I'm kind of using it right now. Crafting rarely plays, yeah. Yeah, nobody wants to pay. A lot of, it's interesting. If you go to, from what I've seen online, if you go to a show where people have to pay to go into it, they tend to be willing to pay the money because they know they're going to a handmade place and that it's going to cost money to shop there, right? But if you just go to a basic craft fair, I see that a lot of people are like, no. And then, like, if you do crochet or something, oh no, Jody. Quick, I've become an iron collector. How many you want? 4? I got you covered. Yeah, see, the problem is you let your son take your backup or he stole it. So you have to be able to hide things from your children now because you know that they're going to steal things. And you're like, oh, Mom's got 2. I'm just borrowing it. No. Ask my kids. I hide stuff from them all the time because it's my stuff. I don't mind sharing and letting you do certain things, but when I need it, I need it. Anyway, I've been seeing a lot of the crocheters because crochet got really big and selling the different stuffed animals and stuff got really big. But then there was so many crocheters, even when the craft fairs only allow like 3, there's still tons. 3 is a lot to still choose from, and it really affects their sales and stuff on top of the people that just want to take pictures and they say they can make it themselves. Now, a person like me, I do ask permission. I'm like, hey, can I take a picture of that? I would never say I'm going to make it myself. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting, or I don't mind asking too. And I wouldn't mind if someone asked, would you be interested in sharing the technique? This part is really interesting. I've never seen it before. And if they're like, hey, I just spun it in a circle, I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. And if they're like, I don't want to share it, then, that's okay too. Because if you figure things out for yourself, you shouldn't have to always share them, Some people call it gatekeeping, but I call it just making sure, you stand out a little bit and that things are a little bit, not everything's going to be the same and that yours is just a smidge different. And if you worked, 4 years, oh, I'm sorry, I'm knowing a lot. If you've worked for 4 or 5 years or more perfecting your skill, I don't think you should have to just give it to somebody, Hey, oh, I did it again. Hey, Sue. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. The problem with the Hera marker is I can't always see the lines. And 1 inch is a little bit further apart. So craft fairs and stuff like that can get very difficult. Plus, I've heard people they're like, well, I paid $100 or $500 to get in. And I'm like, that is crazy. You know, you might not even make profit, especially if you're paying someone to be with you or purchasing food or if you have to stay overnight somewhere because it's a 2-day thing. It gets really hard. My cutting mat is a Fisker, and it's the 36 by 24. It's down in my Amazon shop list, and it's really reasonably priced here on Amazon. Like, I'm on Amazon. Yeah, so you can get it on Amazon. I was willing to purchase it, so it wasn't. I didn't wait too long for it or anything. I think it's a very reasonable price. They can get quite expensive other places. And if you're here in the US and you don't really care where you shop, double check between Amazon and Walmart online, because a lot of times I just ordered another bolt of fusible fleece from Amazon in preparation for doing the witch hats and the Santa hats and just tote bags in general, because I think I only have 2 yards left and that goes real quick. Oh yeah, steamer might help for what you're doing with clothes. I couldn't see the purple thread. I thought I was out for a second. I'm just trying to make good product at a price that's fair for you, but also fair for me, right? And I did learn early on, I think it's something that, from what I've read, we all have to learn, that pricing your items too low actually makes it look like your product isn't worth, you know, like you don't have pride or value in your product. I've seen so many of the tote bags that are 2 fabrics for like trick-or-treating, and they sell them for like $5, or the two fabrics for a quilted tote. Now, with the quilted totes, I've seen crazy stuff with those. I've seen them being sold for like $7.50 and $10 on Etsy, and I've also seen them being sold for $250. 2 pieces of fabric on the outside, the 2 lining fabrics, the polyester batting, so we all know that's less expensive, and the 1 pocket that you can just slip your phone into. That's it. $225 quilted. I'm like, I don't understand. Hi, Audrey. Oh, late works because the live stream never goes away and you never have to worry. You're never late. So pricing is weird. If you spend any time at all looking into it, it's really crazy. Yeah, it's really hard, Sue, right? A lot of people know, they're like, okay, I spent this much money. I need to make this much money an hour in day 1 to make it worthwhile. And at the end of the day, I need to recoup all of the things that I've paid: hotel, gas, the food, the booth cost, whatever you have to pay, tolls, anything like that. So if you don't make that back in day 1, that's how they consider whether or not it was a success or a fail. So a 3-day craft fair, if you can't make your money back on day 1, then it's not profitable. I don't know. Hi, Janice from Iowa. Yeah, Sue, I'm not really sure, right? Plus the time, and then you have to take that time away from being a maker, and then you have to stress about, okay, the fair. I have or the craft shows. I have 3. Sue and I were talking about fairs earlier. She got me confused. I'm gonna blame Sue this time. I usually blame Jody, but I think we'll go with Sue today. How's that, Sue? But if you have like the seasons coming up, so summer and into the fall, you're like, I have 4 shows that I've decided to do craft fairs this year. So I need to make enough product for the first 2. And then great if you sell the product, but then now you need to make more for the next ones that you've already paid for and you can't get your money back and stuff. It's so hard. It's so stressful. And me, all I can think of is I would be on my own, and what if I have to pee? And what if I'm having a bad day and I'm in a lot of pain, or I get a migraine or something, and it's a total waste. The stress over not going to it would be enough to drive me crazy. Borrowed, loaned, stole. Interchangeable, right, Mary? They do. I just borrowed it. You love me, don't you? Jody, I think you should lock that son up in a closet because he gets to do too many fun things. Or he needs to start taking you as a +1. Maybe lock his wife in a closet so that you can go too. Because you miss out on all the fun things. He does so many fun things. I want my children to go out and have fun and do the things they enjoy. But at the same time, you know, sometimes they go out and do things that I would want to do, and nobody told me about it. I mean, I don't want to go with you and cramp your style, but I'd like to know something fun's happening. Yeah, right, Connie? It can be hard. In the farming communities, it can be so small that, you know, well, I think farmers appreciate the price and stuff. And I've been to some farmers markets and such back home, and it's still hit or miss, but they do seem to appreciate a little bit more the effort that goes into things. It's all a crapshoot in my mind. I just want to make the best quality product that I can. Okay, and if you think about it, right? If I make something that falls apart, great. You'll have to come back and buy a new one. But if I make something that falls apart, why would you come back and buy a new one, right? I want to make like my tote bags. They're expensive. I know that. They could be worse. Remember the simple ones for $225, $275, and they sell. That's the crazy part, right? Right, Mary, right? Children, I tell you. But you just have to I want to make the best quality item I can, and I want to try to make things that are a little different, but by making things that are a little different, it makes it a little harder. Following the viral trends is difficult too. Like, you can ride that wave. I'm just cutting the threads where I didn't cut my threads and I just moved over to the next spot. You ride those viral trains great, right? The trends are great. The next thing you know, you've made, 50 of something, and now it's a new trend and no one's going to buy those 50 things. And what's the next trend? I don't know. I don't even know how trends start, how they come up with this stuff. So it's hard. So I just want to put my head down, pay attention to what's going on, but still make stuff that isn't part of a trend, so that you don't have to buy a new water bottle, right? What I make isn't going to go out of style in a month from now. So this one, I'm not sure. I don't think maybe let me see. Sometimes I just take my label and I move it around. Like, I could put it right there, but it kind of interrupts things. I mean, I could put it right there. There's a line here because this is one of those panels that have all of the blocks already made. So I could put it right there in the diagonal and it kind of fits. So I just look at it and see where I can tuck it in, and it doesn't go, whoa, whoa. I don't know. Oh yeah, you guys can see what I was doing. Good. So I don't want it to be in your face. I know people don't like that, but I still want to be able to, I want to do what I want. There's so many things that I have to do that are customer based. Sometimes I just want to do my version beyond the creative part, Not everyone likes a label, and not everyone cares. You're never going to make everybody happy. And that's okay. And then we have Ooh, hot, hot, hot. Then we have this one. Now this one. I keep in mind that it's a 1/4 of an inch seam. If I don't cut these little thread jumps off, it can pull on it and make it a little bit of a weird spot. Like a little pucker, pucker. I've been chatting with a few people on Instagram about, look, that's fun. It's like that sand you can put in. We've been chatting a lot about saving the thread and what we can do with it and different projects and stuff. So we're all kind of putting our heads together and trying to come up with something more than just putting the wash away stabilizer on there or the mesh. I really just do not like the way the mesh looks. I really, it changes it. It kind of makes it hazy, and I really just don't care for it very much. See, the white really sticks out on the green a lot. And it sticks out on the blue, but for some reason the white doesn't bother me on the blue as much. I'm whining? Oh no. Stick around for a little while more, Mary. I might bitch and whine. I can go both, you know. I'm really good. I tell my kids, I'm like, which way do you want me to argue this? Do you want me to argue for or against? Or do you want me to do both? Because I can do it all in the same conversation. I know that I do whine. Like, I don't understand how these people sell these tote bags for $225. And I can see their reviews and the comments on YouTube, and they talk about how they bought the bag and it fell apart in 6 months. And yet the person that's making it is not trying to improve their bags. That's what really kind of ticks me off a little bit is I feel like, you know, not that I feel like, I know the customers are very important. Why wouldn't you want to do something to stand behind your product and make sure that it's going to last, right? I kind of like that on the blue there. As a person who personally can't afford to shop in my shop, you know, I want to make sure that those who do, you know, they enjoy the stuff. And I get comments from you guys. You're like, Robin, I bought this 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I really appreciate it. It's still working. Now, this one I can't put a label on. Everything goes up and down, and it's kind of like dark and stuff, and there's not much space there. So this one, I will have to put it on the back, and I'll moan and groan about it the whole time, and come back 3 weeks from now, and just like Mary said, I'll still be whining about it. Now, some of you may say, hey, Robin, you're just a little bit jealous about other people having success. 100%. 100%. I work hard. I want successful stuff too. I mean, don't you? All right, 1.5 inches up from the bottom is always too much, so I'm just going to do 1.25 inches. And really, anything I tell you about stuff like this, I'm just making stuff up as I go. Oh, cross-stitching. Yeah, good luck with that, right? That's hard. Just like when I did the crocheted shawl and I asked ChatGPT for a little bit of help with it, and they do first ChatGPT kind of just lies to you and they butter you up and tell you whatever you want to hear, but you can find a few little nuggets of truth in there. I don't believe that AI should be part of the actual art world. I think AI has its own art to do, so I won't argue that. But sometimes it's nice just to have a conversation and kind of see if I can sneak a little information out of it. And it did state that basically online with the crochet like that for shawls and stuff, you really have to just go with the 3 times the cost of materials because people won't pay the price for crochet items like that or knit items for your time. So that's why I had to put the shawl. I just put it at 3 times the cost of materials. And it's fine. I was really thrilled when it sold because for things like that, I am just happy that it is going to a new home, right? I'm just thrilled that someone actually purchased it and to give it a good home. So now this one I can, I would want to have it like in the purple here, but that's too, you guys can't see, that's too far up. Sometimes you could put it over on the side like that. That might work. But if I was going to do that, I would put it, I can get away with that. They just sew so much better if you put them where I have like fusible fleece and stuff. So what I do is I know 1/4 of an inch is going to be for the seam allowance. So I like to make sure it's a good 1/2 an inch up from the edge. Denise, I think people do complain just to complain. I think in my opinion, right? This is only my opinion, and this just is one person basically bitching and moaning. But when you guys give me tips and tricks in the comments, I research them, I try them, and if they work for me, great. A lot of times we're just talking about, hey, Robin, sew from the left instead of from the right. But if there's like a technique that I don't know, like when the channel first started and people would share specific techniques with me, I would look them up and, practice them and improve. And if you guys, when we were doing tote bags before, people asked, is that handle going to be secure enough? Do you backstitch? Do you double stitch here and there? And I'm like, yeah, no, yes, I do this and I do that and I make sure. And then now I do even more because that was a comment. So I think you just have to find that balance between yourself and what people on the internet say, because let's face it, people on the internet don't always have your best interest, or they are very well meaning and it's just not something that's going to work for you. I have to do the blues still. Let me put labels on the blues while we're here. Again, we're in that bit so that, where can I put it on this one? And for this, I think I can put it down here. So it's all about a balance, right? You need to make sure you're using the best quality materials that you can afford. I've heard people buy things from Temu and it's good, and I've heard many people buy from Temu and it's cheap crap. So I guess it depends on what you're purchasing. Just like purchasing from Amazon isn't always good, right? I feel like this is the right side up, so I don't want to put my label on upside down. I kind of like it a little bit into the other one on this one. It's all, what are you going to do with each one, right? Everyone's going to be a little bit different. Make sure it's up there enough. So we just have to find the best material that we can afford. And as time goes on, you can purchase, better high quality stuff and then go from there. Like not everyone can go to Spoonflower and like Tula Pink and Ruby Star Society and buying charm packs and layer cakes. It's expensive. Not everyone can afford it. But as things go on and the business improves and stuff, you can make decisions on what you're going to purchase and things like that. Thanks, Mary. I appreciate it. People definitely don't appreciate the time it takes to do things. And it gets really hard when people don't understand handmade and they look at a quilt. Now you can see a king size quilt and that could be $2,000, $4,000, $6,000. You pay a lot of money just for the fabric. When you sit down and you go to price items, if you just start with figuring out the cost of the materials, and if you don't want to do the whole figuring thing, you just kind of estimate the materials and multiply it by 3. Just remember, if you're selling on Etsy, they're going to take a percentage of the sale, when you sell it, 20 cents to list it, and all of that. Etsy's really good now, so if you put the price in while you're starting to list an item, but it's not listed, it's still in the draft, you can play with the numbers a little bit, and Etsy will tell you how much money you're going to make from it. So if you put like $25 down, and you tell Etsy that it costs $4 in materials, it'll tell you what your profit is because it already figures out the Etsy fees for you. Yeah, you just have to check. It's like not everything at Walmart's from Walmart, not everything at Amazon. Because, like, I have a shop on Amazon. I don't have anything in it, but I have a shop on Amazon. So anyone can sell on Amazon, right? And Michael's has that shop now where you can list things on their website. So it's such a balancing act, and what works for one person isn't going to work for another. I am thrilled that that person can sell their stuff, for that price. I follow Tula Rose here on YouTube. I like to listen to her vlogs. I don't like the 20 minutes of listening to the sewing machine. I just fast forward past that. But I like listening to her and stuff. But I tell you, it takes a hit when she posts something. It's like, I had 200 sales today. I'm like, what? I had 2. But everyone's different, right? You just have to put your head down, figure out what you're doing, have your emotional moment like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I stink. What am I going to do? And then pick yourself up by your bootstraps, put your big girl panties on, and get back to work. Maybe there's something you can tweak. Maybe craft fairs just aren't for you. Where else can you sell? And just go from there. Some people do amazing on Facebook Marketplace, and some people don't. So you just have to find your little niche. Exactly, Jackie. Ooh, that stuff is rough. I mean, that just trying to figure it all out. But the designs usually tell you. And it's like, did you create the design yourself? Or did you purchase the pattern? And then you have to figure out, if you're really getting into the business stuff and the nitty gritty of it, you have to know like what portion of your electric and wear and tear on your sewing machine. Did you drive to get fabric? Did you pay taxes on things? So not only do you pay taxes, but you're paying taxes when you purchase fabric, unless you have a certain tax exempt status and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that go into it besides sitting at the table selling your wares or having stuff in Etsy or on Shopify and stuff. Because Shopify, you have fees, and you also have to there's a monthly fee and all that stuff. So there's just so much. So when you take something you love doing and you turn it into a hobby, you take your hobby and you turn it into a job, you have to be really careful, because that job, I really don't like that there. That job, that hobby is now that's your job, and it's just not as fun anymore. This fabric right here is the wrong side out, and I don't know if the person noticed it and they just left it. I would have just left it too. I think it's just kind of silly fun to have it there now. I'm like, yep, that's something I would do. I'm going to honor it, leave it there, and put it in the piece. You can work years, even if you have like an ice cream business, right? You can work years and you're just struggling all the time. And then all of a sudden, one day, 1 month, 1 year, your business just takes off and you don't even know why. Where did that viral video come from? I don't know. It just happened. So you just put in the time and you put in the time, and then you're good. You took all that time cleaning the steamer, Jody? My goodness. Jody spoils her children. If Jody went on vacation for a month, her children would be lost. Even though they don't live at home, in the house, if they could not communicate with her for a month, they would not survive. Between making clothes and ironing clothes and cleaning steamers, it's crazy. Yeah, everyone. And you know what's crazy, Jody? First of all, we all see the things like Taylor Swift made the whole bracelet thing popular and all that. So, and now the purse jewelry is popular, but that could come and go at any time. Purse jewelry has been around for such a long time. All right, back to the white thread. Oh, I got to blow my nose. 1 second. The good point about humidity is my sinuses aren't as stuffed. So I'm just going to not blow my nose on a live stream because that would be rude. Yeah, you can think like I've made this creative thing, I've come up with this design, and it's an original, and then you get to the craft fair and you look around and you're like, darn it, everyone has something very similar. That's why I'm trying to work with my scraps differently, because everyone goes and they go to Hobby Lobby / Joann's, and everyone buys the Ruby Star fabric and the Tula Pink, and everyone has the same stuff. And a zipper pouch from Tula Pink is a zipper pouch from Tula Pink, right? So you got to find something that's just a little different. Find your aesthetic, your brand, your look, and then just kind of keep showing it. Now for me, I know where my missing link is, and I know why my sales are hit and miss and depends on different times of the year. I don't social media very well. I just want to sit down and sew, right? Here's the catch-22, right? I know social media is what I need to really push next, and I'm slowly getting into it. I don't want to jump in like crazy amount. You don't want to make 4 zipper pouches at the same exact time or 4 quilt blocks at the same exact time, because you'll make the same mistake 4 times. So if you make 1 social media post, 1 quilt block, 1 zipper pouch, learn from things that worked and didn't work, wonky seams, whatever, and then do it again. So I'm trying to slowly integrate into social media because I think that's where the 20-somethings have me beat. So the catch-22 is I would like to hire someone to do my social media, but I don't sell enough to hire someone to do my social media. And then if you make enough money to pay someone to do your social media, then you really don't need social media because you're already selling your stuff like crazy and can't keep up. So it's like, whatever. It's nothing new. It's just different than what our parents went through and their parents. Your boys are just spoiled. They're mama boys. And all right, yeah, we'll give your daughter a little bit, but at the same time, you know, she's spoiled too, Jody. All our kids are spoiled. I'm no different. My kids are spoiled, but we let them get away with things, and we're like, oh yeah, you know, they have this excuse, they work a lot, or you know, they're spoiled, or their wife doesn't do things for them. Oh, Jody, the steamer's really good, right? I heard they're really good, and you can just people use them for to steam their batting. So if you're listening to me, the person I was talking to about batting, I think you're here. You know I'm terrible with names. I want to say Anita, Audrey, I think you were the one. Audrey, there you are too. Audrey, that's what you can do with your batting. My mistake if I'm talking to the wrong person, but you can hang your batting up, and if you have a steamer, you can steam it to get the creases and the wrinkles out, and then you wouldn't have to worry about, you know, ironing it and what you need to do with your batting before using it. You can go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, I'm in a phase right now where the kids are not spoiling me, but they usually do. You know, we all go through those phases, right? Sometimes we pay attention to our parents and sometimes we don't. My kids are all branching out and doing their own things right now, which is absolutely what they're supposed to be doing. But when mom branches out and does her own things, you think the kids are going to be happy about that? Oh, no, no, no. They're like, what? You're not sitting on a shelf waiting for me to need you at the very moment? How dare you have a life? Parents aren't supposed to have a life. Lofting your batting. Yeah, I did see that. Like with the steamer, it pulls it up and makes it taller and stuff. I saw that video too. I have been looking for some more vlogs. First, thank you guys so much. I'm glad you guys are mostly enjoying the vlogs. I don't know if anyone's not, so that's why I say mostly. I've gotten really good feedback. They're going to stay about the same but change a little. They're basically going to be like a live stream in a smaller bite. So that way you guys, I'm trying to keep around the 20 to 30 minute mark or the 15 to 30 minute mark so you guys can watch a vlog in one setting. And then, you know, the live streams are always longer and stuff. And Patreon has like an hour long once a month. So, you know, I'm glad you guys are enjoying that. But now I'm looking for something similar to what I do. A vlog. I watch Passionate Kelsey. She does crochet and a little bit of knit. And I enjoy her channel. So I'm always looking for something like that. Taylor Rose, whatever it is. I enjoy hers, but she does a lot of sewing and listening to the sewing machine. And her videos are like an hour, hour and a half long, and that's great. But I don't care the length. I just want a little bit more project, a little bit more rambling, and less sewing machine. Because while I'm working, I like to have it on in the background. So if anyone has anyone like that they can recommend, I'm always looking for stuff like that. Knitting, crochet, sewing, really into the beadwork and the bookmaking right now. I come and go on that, but I've been doing that a lot. And crazy, YouTube's been suggesting the police body cameras. I'm not really sure how I got into that, but I've been enjoying that. We're sitting on the shelf, yeah. He really should. What does he need? What is he? Oh, because he had your backup iron before this week? Yeah, he should really give it back. 100%. So with the police dash cams, for some reason, YouTube thinks I want to see, I didn't know my son was a murderer, or hit and run. I've been getting a lot of hit and run things and stuff like that, and people driving drunk and not realizing it the next day. So I'd like to redo my algorithm and get it back to some more crafty things. I'm really not sure where that came from. I mean, I have watched the Karen videos now and then, but I'm not usually into the like those podcasts that a lot of women like to. They have the women doing the podcast and the women that enjoy listening to the crime ones. I don't always like that. I do like cozy mysteries and Hallmark movies, so I'm more of a lightweight when it comes to that stuff. I have always enjoyed watching, well, it used to be Native American and now it's indigenous, when they make their beaded outfits for like their shoes and their cuffs and whatever they put like on their chest and stuff. I've always enjoyed watching those beading videos. So I found a couple of those. And don't even get me going. I don't know what's going on Instagram and TikTok. I tried to formulate my TikTok For You section there, For You page or whatever it's called. They just send me all kinds of stuff. I tried to keep it crafty, but it's not working. All right, so everybody's quilted. These are sewn around. I have white thread in. Whoops, sorry, I'm banging on stuff. All right, so I'm going to stitch all around them in white and save my colored thread because for the most part for these, you can't see, when you turn it right side out, you can't see the white color. When I do zipper pouches and stuff, I do like to sew purple pouches with purple thread, mostly because sometimes with a pouch it pulls open a little bit. Oh, I'll show you right now, Audrey. I am making mini, I mentioned that I would have to repeat it anyways. I'm making mini mug rugs that will fit into a envelope that's 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 so that they can be shipped international. And for you guys that just have a little bit of money and you want to purchase something, my goal is to keep these below $10, and I think I can do it, but I'm just talking off the top of my head right now. So I want to keep it at a reasonable price, free shipping, so that you can purchase it internationally. And for the countries that I've tried so far, it's like mailing my fabric postcards. There's no tariffs, no the fees that you have to pay when it comes into your country and stuff, because it mails like a greeting card. So I was just making different size ones. I have a vlog I really, really like this. I have a vlog coming up where I go through the whole conversation and the process and stuff. But I just started making them in different sizes, all basically rectangular, to see what would fit in the envelope so that people can purchase them without going broke. Because I've heard from several people, they want a little Robin goodness, but they can't afford to pay more for the shipping than what it costs to purchase it type thing. And the coasters won't fit in those envelopes because they're 7 1/4 by 5 1/4, a 6-inch coaster won't fit. Now, I can purchase different size envelopes. I'll have to see. The post office is weird. If you have a square envelope, it tends to get a little quirky with it. If you have a rectangular one, they're like, oh, we like rectangles. We don't like circles. So it all depends. Let me move this guy out of the way. Oh, it's heavy. There we go. Give myself a little room here. So that's what I was going for. I wanted to do a thank you for my patrons, for those that have been with me since the beginning and they're still here. People come and go. I understand that. You can't always, stay and afford to do things. For those of you that have been here for a bit, you remember how I was doing so many live streams and I got a hat, and then I did so many of... At the bottom of the screen when you're watching a video, a little box pops up with the ad and it says, go shop at Michael's, go shop at Bell's and stuff like that. There's a thing that we're doing. I did that once already for that, or a couple times. And, ooh, this one, oh, that's where I was stuck with the white thread. I have to sew the labels down, Robin Suzanne. That's what we're working on now. What we're working on now is memberships. So I'm going to be tweaking the memberships a little bit. I don't think I'm going to earn anything other than some memberships. And I think for me, the most I'm going to tweak the memberships is to keep the level at the way it's at, and then put it so that the vlogs come early, like you get early access to the vlogs if you're a membership. Oh, thank you, Audrey. I really appreciate that. I am really enjoying doing the vlogs because I can just sit down and, pull out the camera and do whatever it is that I'm doing and just chat with you guys. And I personally like watching people do their process of what they're making and stuff and just kind of rambling chat. Because again, I like to listen to things while I'm sewing. I don't always get to look up. Now, if something interests me, I'll look up and I'll be like, oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. But I don't always get to watch, and see what people are doing. I like to just listen to the ramble. Excuse me, like you guys do here on the live stream. Now my nose is itching. And it's great because I don't have to wait a whole week to do like a Whip It Wednesday. I can show you this week's vlog while I'm working on it and then be like, come back next week and see the finished item. I did that in a recent one that I recorded with the tote bags because I couldn't put it all in a video because it would have made the video 3 hours long. So it's been kind of nice finding my rhythm with it and stuff. Trying to stay on top of the editing because it's really fun to just record like crazy. And once again, it's one of those things where I'd love to be able to afford an editor, but yeah, that's not in the budget. Plus, editing my videos would be a little difficult. I would have to spend so much time making notes and saying, like right now, when I do a video, I'll say things like, hey, you need to delete that part, you know, don't post that, you know, do this or something like that. So I had to tell myself. And so I don't know if what I do and the way I do videos, if someone would be able to, you know, do that for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm not as weird as I think I am, but you guys only see the edited version. Oh, Jody. At this point, you could have gone to the store and gotten a whole new iron and been done with the project. You run into so many complications. There's always something, right? I mean, that's how life is. That you have good runs, and then there's just a week where everything's crazy. All right. I definitely prefer spending the little extra to have the heat and bond. I think it's like maybe $2 extra or something to have the labels be self-adhesive like that to heat and bond them, because otherwise they shift. They're shifty little fellas. And I was doing it before, having just different labels that weren't iron-on, and they move around all the time. Ta-da! Okay, so Sue's going to a low country boil. Got an invitation from her youngest son's best friend and wife. Their 11th year doing it. Thanks, Sue. I appreciate it. Drive safe. Be careful. Be careful coming home because it'll be dark then. Well, Jody, depending on the size of your mug rugs, check the measurements, the largest envelope that you can mail through the USPS with a first class stamp. And if the envelope size is large enough for you to fit a mug rug in there, the rules are it has to be less than 1/4 of an inch and weigh less than an ounce to go by a first class stamp. Otherwise, I recommend getting the manila envelopes, and then they mail for like $5. Oh, and use Pirate Ship online shipping if you're going to be printing the labels at home. So if you can print them at home, Pirate Ship will give you a discount compared to if you purchased it from the post office itself. All right, Sue, have fun. Enjoy your food. I'm jealous to people who, because of food allergies, I think a lot of us are just jealous. And Jody, you'll relate to this, but you know how people just Oh, let's just go to a low country boil. Let's go to a Cajun boil. Hey, let's just go eat at that restaurant. And they think nothing of it. I mean, I know movies aren't real, but nobody in a movie has a food allergy unless it kills them, right? Someone killed this person because they're allergic to peanuts, is an audiobook I just finished reading. So it's like nobody goes to the bathroom and everyone can eat whatever they want. I'm like, nice. You see everything online and stuff. Now that's 100%. I know I wouldn't go out now and eat much anyways because it's so expensive. And I'm always disappointed if the food I pay a lot of money for doesn't taste better than something I can cook at home. I'm a little upset. But I am jealous of anyone who can just go out and eat, because they don't have to worry about allergies and cross-contamination and stuff. Unique to weird, huh? Yeah. Unique is good. I'll have to get some chappy stick. Excuse my... Ugh. I have not gotten used to the constant need for chapstick here. I think I've bought 3 tubes of chapstick in my entire life in Florida. I buy the Blistex Complete Moisture. I've tried a variety of things with the allergies. I found a really good one at Trader Joe. No, not Trader Joe's. Sprouts, but it made my lips swell up, so that's not going to work. But the Blistex Complete Moisture works really well. I buy it in 3 packs now because I just go through so much. Yeah, right. It's just so much. Oh, I'm not sewing these. I'm like, I got myself confused for a minute. Yeah, it's just there's so many things that you have to watch out for and think about. And the parents that have like little children and babies and stuff that they have to deal with, I know how hard it, I can appreciate how hard it is for them. I've only had one slightly picky eater, so I don't know firsthand a lot of things on that. Robbie can't visualize things, so if you tell him certain things, like I always tell the story, like he couldn't eat hamburgers. I knew he liked hamburgers because we went to McDonald's and got cheeseburgers and hamburgers all the time, but he couldn't understand outside of McDonald's what a hamburger was. So one day I took him into the kitchen and I showed him step by step, and we made it identical because I worked at McDonald's for so many years. I knew how many pickles, the mustard and ketchup ratio and stuff. So we made cheeseburgers exactly like McDonald's. And then from then on, he's always been a burger lover. Maybe it's supposed to plump, huh? Hello, Abdul Ahmad. How are you doing today? Yeah, I kind of figured that that person might be a troll, so just be careful, Jackie. I appreciate all of your help. All right. This has the peacock fabric. I have not necessarily a panel of peacock fabric, but I have a fabric with a huge peacock and peacock tail and stuff on it. I have it saved in my stash because one day I'm going to make a beaded tote bag if it's not too big, or a beaded wall hanging on it. I'm going to take the fabric and do some hand embroidery and do some beadwork and everything. I think it's going to be beautiful in my head, so we'll see. Hi, Catherine. Welcome, welcome. I figure we'll go until about 3 o'clock. Whatever's done is done. You guys see what they are supposed to look like, and you've seen me many times make a basic mug rug, so you have the basic idea. Yeah, it is a little ambitious, but, you know, that's always been my goal, is to combine quilting and beading. So I'm going to keep my eye out on fabric now when I go fabric shopping, to specifically make tote bags with beads and stuff on it. And I've been slowly purchasing more beads to do bead embroidery, because I want to make brooches. That word is always hard for me. So I want to, whoop, wrong foot. I want to be able to start going and doing what I've wanted to do, and combine my love of quilting with that of beading and embroidery, and, you know, the slow stitching and stuff like that. All right, I'm going to put this one on the end just because it's going to work the best. And then I'll just complain about it constantly, because why not? I've mixed the quilting and the beading and embroidery before, but I wasn't mature enough in my techniques and processes to get it to the point where I want. You know, like, you can't just... I'll be right back with you, Audrey. You know, you can't just say, hey, I want to do, like, for those of you that cross stitch, you know, you're going to do the heaven and earth. You know, you're not just going to sit down and do a heaven and earth and be done in a year. It's like a 5-year project for people that are skilled, even with a lot of time on your hands. You're not just going to make a foundation paper piece quilt or a very intricate quilt. You have to start small and work your way up. Now, Audrey, it hasn't been that long ago that I was just making simple totes. I've been adding something to my totes every year and trying to improve and learn new things, until I knew there was a certain point, and I had a price point in mind based on the techniques and the style that I'm going to do. So I just knew I needed to slowly work up to it. And, you know, well, Audrey, on the second channel, keep an eye out for it. It's not going to happen right away, but once I get this channel settled, I just wanted to make sure I had that channel built. If you don't create it and then one day I want to go live and the channel's not there, it's not going to work. But now that the channel exists, if I want to just finish this live and bounce over there and do something else, we can do that. Monday morning, Tuesday evening, I can just pop over there and we can hang out. So I do want to do some slow stitching over there. Now, we can do it on the live here, but I feel like hanging out on the other channel is more grab a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, grab a glass of wine. We're going to sit down and chat. And if the video is 4 hours long or 20 minutes long, it's going to be fine. Here, they do get up to 3 hours, but I try to keep them, you know, within that amount. So we can do slow stitching there. On this channel, I feel like sometimes the viewers that pop in and out and don't hang out with us regularly, they want all the information, they want it all now, and they don't have the patience for the let's hang out and chat with each other. So by putting that on the other channel, I think we'll be in better shape. So we're going to do that. And it just might take me a little while, right? Just have a little patience. And we'll get there. That channel is just sitting there and hanging out, making sure I didn't screw up everything. I have permission to do live streams on there now, so we're good there. Okay. So for those of you that aren't familiar with what we're doing, I like to leave the outside, the backing is just one piece of fabric, no batting, no fusible fleece, no quilting. I like to leave it a little bit larger so it's easy for the 1/4 of an inch. I can see this fabric. So when I stitch around, I know it's not shifting anywhere. So then I'll go through and I'll trim all the way around, turn it right side out, and then stitch around it so that it looks like this. I'm going to be doing that without you guys. I probably won't even put it into the vlog. I might show all of the finished pieces in the vlog. I think I actually finished the vlog the other day, yesterday or something, so we'll see. See, that's the thing, Barb, right? We can all do the slow stitching. It's really fun, and it doesn't take as much skill as we might be concerned and worried about. it really just kind of grows with you while you're doing it. And before you know it, you have more skill than you thought. But the thing is, what do you do with like the snippet rolls? I love the snippet rolls. I fell in love with those probably 10, 15 years ago when I first came across them. But it's like, other than rolling it up on a big wooden spool or something to just look at, what are you going to do with it? I do have that live stream and maybe a video or two where we did the slow stitching and turned it into the needle cases, a little needle book. I think that's a great way to use up slow stitching stuff. Kind of looking forward to doing paper beads again. I have to be careful because certain things, once I start them back up, it's going to become not a new addiction because I already have it in me, but a renewed addiction. So I have to be careful of my time and how I end up using it. I have been working on that cross stitch or the embroidery project. I've been doing a little bit each night, and it does take longer than we realize. I know some people can whip through it really quickly, but I do like to slowly enjoy the process, watching a TV show. So there is the pattern, what theirs looks like. And I did put a picture on the community page. So now I'm doing the stems, and that'll be the finished part of it. And I have 2 more to do, and then I'm going to turn it. This one's probably going to be a tote bag because it's so tall. It is 3 inches wide and 6 inches tall. So it could be a zipper pouch, but it would have to be the ones that kind of is taller and stands up. So I thought I'd rather turn this one into like the part of like a tote bag. There is a zipper pouch that I've seen a pattern for that we can kind of like adjust for it. So we'll see, but for now, this is what I think it's going to be, a tote bag. And it's just been really nice to sit down and do hand embroidery again at the end of the night instead of jumping right into, oh, I need to crochet or knit. And for those of you who've been waiting, I do have the Centro machine that I've never used, and I do want to do that on the other channel once I take a couple spins on it and figure it out, because I want to make the headbands or the ear muffs or whatever they are, the ear bands, I don't know. But I can also make hats for charity on it. So I kind of want to do all that. Slow stitching is so much fun, isn't it, Catherine? I really enjoy it. If we get like outside of our head, and like people ask, what should I do, Robin, with the Scrappy calculator strips? Well, if you made a 2.5-inch strip, it can become anything. You can turn it into a key fob. You can incorporate it into a zipper pouch or a tote bag. You can make a lot of people make the wrist cuffs with it. You can get those metal bracelets and put it on the metal bracelet part. So there's a lot of things to do. We just have to kind of let our mind relax a little and kind of get outside of the box and figure out. Like if you make scrappy strips that are 2.5-inch wide, it's a jelly roll. Anything you do in quilting that's 2.5 inches wide, you can use your scrappy calculator strips with, right? If you make something that's 5 inches wide, you can do it. We just kind of, I know I have to train my brain or retrain it to think a different way. And sometimes when I explain things to you guys, you're like, oh yeah, I can do that. Like, yeah, you can. You don't have to do everything that everyone else is doing. You don't have to follow an exact pattern. If you're more comfortable following a pattern, you can do that. But if you Google what to make with snippet rolls, if you find how to make snippet rolls, if you find Instagram, or better yet, people who still do blogs on the internet, they'll show you different ways to make it and how to, how to create with it. So who cares if a blog is 20 years old or 10 years old? You can still do it, right? Like I have all kinds of stuff still on my blog, and I just you know, it's still good. I just don't use it anymore because most people don't go to blogs anymore unless you're like quilters and companies like quilt companies, quilt shops and stuff. People went to Facebook and Instagram. Renewed addiction, 100%. I've revitalized my addiction. I fell down the well. Yeah, and if you just the simplest thing, like if you did want to make like one of these wrist cuffs, you take your snippet roll and then you put just like we're doing here, you put this piece of fabric on top, sew all around, turn it right side out, and put a snap or Velcro on it. You can, I don't know if I'd want to use it like for a strap on a tote bag, but you can put it onto something and you can applique it onto almost anything you want. Ooh, curtain tiebacks. If you have curtains and you use tiebacks, that would be fun. The big bows everyone's making, you can make smaller bows and put it on the down parts of it. You can just kind of, if you're going to make English paper piece hexies and you have no idea what you're going to do with it, you can still enjoy the process of making the hexies, and then you can worry about what to do with them next year. So if not knowing what to do with it stops you from doing the slow stitching or the snippet rolls, I say jump in and do it, and then just worry about what you're going to do with it later. I've been making calculator strips for years. I have tons of them in my stash. I just recently, in this house, at this table in Arizona, figured out what I want to do with some of mine. If I made more quilts, I could come up with more things, but I did come up with an idea. So sometimes you just jump in and worry about what it's going to become later. Maybe it doesn't become anything. Like for me, I can make them and sell them in my shop. Not everyone has the time or the patience, or they don't feel like they have the skill level to make the snippets. People purchase quilts, tops, and quilt blocks because they don't think they can make that, but they don't mind. Like they'll send it out to a long armor or something. I don't know. There's something for everyone, right? Hello, thank you. So what happens when you blindly press buttons on your machine? So look at these. Someone was just randomly making this, color coordinating it, or just using their scraps. I don't remember what they did with them, but now we're turning them into mini mug rugs. People send me random bits, and I think sometimes they're surprised at how I end up using them. I don't do anything crazy, but they just end up being mixed. Like I can take some of your stuff and some of their stuff and mix it all together into one thing, and there we go. I love art quilts, little mini art quilts on the wall. I've always said if I get to the point and the law states that you can only have one item you can make, one craft you can do, what are you going to make? Forget the desert island. I went with the legalities of it. Each person's only allowed to make one item. So if you're a jeweler, you can make rings or bracelets or necklaces. You can't make them all. So I decided that in my mind, I'm going to cheat the system. I'm going to make art quilts. Or tote bags. I haven't decided. I think tote bags would probably be best because, that way people can use it. But art quilts would work too. Then I can use fabric and I can quilt it, make quilt blocks. I can add hand embroidery or hand quilting to it. I can add beading to it because it's an art quilt. You can put all of those things on, right? You can add ribbons to it. So there's a lot you can do, and you can use all kinds of materials. So sometimes the answer is make an art quilt. And if you look at Pinterest, there's a lot of fun ones out there to help inspire you. So that's my desert island against the law. What items am I going to do? Technically, if you're a clay artist, you can even make like clay buttons or medallions or something on there. Now, I might get in trouble if it's a legal thing versus a desert island thing, but I'm a rebel. I'm not illegal and against the law, but in the imaginary world I am. Oh, one more. I will admit, though, that I've had about enough of this project and I don't want to do it anymore right now. But that's because I'm making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I've already made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 16 of them. 16 of them in 2 days. I'm about done. I burnt myself out. That's okay because for here in Arizona, it's almost 3 o'clock. When I'm done cleaning up after all of this, and I will trim all of them and worry about turning them right side out tomorrow. But at that point, it'll be like 4 o'clock, and then I can sit down and spend about an hour working on my embroidery. These are from the Fat Quarter Shop. I have the link to them over in the community section here on my YouTube channel. Or, I mean, I appreciate it if you click my affiliate link in the description box and just go to the Fat Quarter Shop and look up Cassidy Grace or hand embroidery. So this only takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. And between the 3 patterns, there may be about a dozen of them, but a lot of them are interchangeable from pattern to pattern, and you don't even have to use the same colors. I changed mine up a little bit because I didn't have all of them. So it's not safe for me to go to Michael's and get just a couple because I would buy more. I really need to do some type of a spreadsheet or something and figure out what colors I don't have from the DMC floss because I'm trying to get one skein of every color so that when I work on projects, I'll have everything. Plus, I just like the colors. My ultimate project that I've always wanted to make as soon as I learned that embroidery existed is I've always wanted to do a piece of wall art in fabric and stuff, but I wanted to be able to embroider it first started out I wanted to embroider a fish tank, but now I want to do an under the sea look at the ocean, and I want to do fabric embroidery and beadwork for an under the sea look so that we might have an octopus and a crab, and we can have a flamingo up on the land to fit my flamingo, thing. And I've just always wanted to do that. And I think I'm at the point now that I can actually accomplish that. Look, I did them all. Woohoo! So that I think I can actually accomplish that now. I think I have enough knowledge and skill and mental thought process that I could create that project. Now, of course, that would be for me unless someone really fell in love. And let me tell you, I wouldn't mind taking a bit of money for it. But I would like to make something for myself like that. If you put like a year's time into something, do you really want to sell it even though you could earn a couple $1,000s for it, right? I'm making room here so I can trim those up and chat for just a couple more minutes, and then you'll maybe turn one right side out or something. I just need to clean up my mess. I am absolutely loving my clip bin. I do love this side with the squares better than that side with just a few fabrics. So when I put it, it usually goes right where the computer is. So I do like to put it so that it goes like that. But let me move these so we can get a thumbnail. I don't have a thumbnail. As you guys saw for the beginning of this, it just says Robin's going live. Robin's playing with something. So let's pull these out. These are the Missouri Star fabrics. Still my favorite. So whoever gets this, you guys got to know that that's my absolute favorite. I think I might have to take a picture. Thumbnails. Apparently that's something I'm terrible with. And everyone says, those in the know say, my YouTube channel will never survive because I can't do thumbnails. Can't take pictures either because part of it's out of the screen. I think I'm just going to have to take a picture for the thumbnail. But I had a lot of fun working on these. I had to pull out my freebie bin so that you guys can see what I've been putting in there. I'm trying to walk quietly around softly. Because everything bounces in the world. Okay. So what I do at this point, sometimes I just use the presser foot on my sewing machine to hold everything. It's very helpful like that. So I just take this. Now I do like to leave a little extra of the backing fabric where the opening is. Bye, Mary. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Okay, our next live stream is August 1st. So it is technically in 2 weeks. We only have 4 Saturdays this month, but there is 5 Fridays. So anyone who gets paid every week on Friday has an extra paycheck this month. Congratulations. Don't forget to check them back to school sales. So if you use composition notebooks, sticky notes, pens, pencils, any of that stuff. So on this side, I didn't bring out any scissors. Okay, on this side, I trim right along wherever the stitching is, and then I just trim up. And then, so it ends up looking like this. So that fabric is sticking out there, so that when I turn it right side out, I've got to get my turner arounder thingy-mabobby. So then when I bring everything, bring out my corners, when I go to turn this bit in, there's so much more that I only have to worry about the 1/4 of an inch with the front of it, and then the back, it just has all that extra, and it's so much easier to get that to all. Giovanna, we were looking for you. Giovanna forgot about me. Giovanna doesn't love me no more. I'm no longer a favorite. So it just makes it easier if I don't have to try to fold in. It has the fusible fleece or batting here, and sometimes it's quilted. So it's easy to turn this in, but when you only have a 1/4 of an inch of the fabric there, it's kind of hard to get it in. So that's why I like to leave that little extra if I had the extra fabric. Whiskers just thumped her tail at me, and I don't know what her problem is. It's not dinner time until 4. She'll survive. Thanks, Giovanna. It's nighttime for her, like after dinner time for Giovanna, so she gets a little busy. You know how busy it is from like 5 to 7 or 8 when you have kids in the house still, or just taking care of dinner and the household and stuff. So that's what I do with that. And if I don't have that extra bit of fabric, then you know what? Life goes on. I just figure it out. Sometimes it helps to spray a little bit of water on it, because fabric can be a little bit easier to hold on to if you have some water. I think I need a new blade. You can tell when you need a new blade is when you cut through stuff and it doesn't cut, and you have to cut through it a couple more times. Especially, I always test it. Is it me? Or is it the fact that, you know, the blade? So if you just try to cut through just the fabric and you have one, like that, you have one piece of fabric and it keeps getting caught and skipping, then you either have something going on with the blade, which means you would need a new one, or you just in general, you need a new blade. It's dull. Now remember, using a dull needle in your sewing machine is not the best thing to do, but using a dull needle on a dull rotary blade on a mat like this, it will cause deeper grooves that take a long time to heal. So a dull blade will dull your cutting mat fast. So you always want to have a good cutting mat that's in the best condition you can get it in. So if it has a whole bunch of gouges and missing pieces, it's time to flip it over or get a new one. And when your blade can't cut through one piece of fabric without making issues, and you're starting to see gouges in your mat from it, it's time to get a new blade. New mat, new blade, new needles, all of that. Yeah, Mary was on time. She's taken over your spot, Giovanna. I don't know what we're going to do with you. So thank you guys for hanging out with me and listening to my rambles. And if you don't want to cut with your rotary cutter, you can just cut with scissors. Sometimes cutting with scissors is faster than getting out the rotary cutter. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because it's already sewn, right? So if you got jagged bits, not a big deal. I just like to do the angle here. When I do it, it tucks in really well. We talked about that, Giovanna. It's so annoying. I'm such a brat. Can't help myself. Listen, technically I'm sitting here talking to myself now for over 2 hours. You guys, I did not hear anyone else jumping in to carry on the conversation, as in out loud, not text, in the chat and stuff. I didn't hear any voices but mine. So I do the vlog, I'm talking to myself. I do the live stream, I'm talking to myself. Tutorial, I'm still talking to myself, but it's not as much chatter as teaching. So I spend a lot of time talking to myself. So I am such a brat. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm really sorry about the hot glue gun yesterday, that the sale ended the night before I posted it. If I had known ahead of time the sale was going to end, I would have put the video up sooner. I had it done a few days earlier. I just didn't know that the sale was going to end. So my apologies. Oh, Giovanna, we've been here for 2 hours and 10 minutes. You're going to have to catch the replay and listen to us. Or don't. We said bad things about you the whole time. Right, everyone? All right, Jody, good luck. Sue, if you come back, I hope you enjoy it. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Really, if you enjoy the vlogs, tell your friends, put it out there. I'd love to build a large community just around the vlogs and not solely. I want the tutorial community and I want the vlog community. And if you have any, I did say your name a couple times. So if you have any recommendations for similar vlogs that I can hang out at, I don't care what the craft is. I watch someone on Instagram that polishes rocks. I will never polish rocks. I will never go to riverbeds. and look at stuff underneath. And I will never take a magnet along the highway and pick up loose nails, but I watch all those things. So anything to put on in the background. So be safe, stay hydrated, stay warm, stay cold. Whatever you have to do, take care of yourself physically and mentally. I know I'm sneaky that way, Giovanna. And hey, I'll see you guys on Monday. And I should probably watch my vlog tomorrow because when you guys leave comments, I have no idea what you're talking about because I made that vlog about a month ago. Bye.